Stupid Garbage Podcast.
Oh, I like that.
Notes.
We're
Get your
doing
notes.
this?
Get your notes.
Hello, pod racers.
No, it's my thing.
Okay.
Hi guys.
Okay.
How you doing?
Fuck you.
Wow.
I'm not doing well
Oh.
for a plethora of reasons.
Well, give me your.
I'll
Little...
list them all.
No. Give me a little baby hand. And oh no, you have a cut on your little baby hand.
Yes, it's huge and very painful.
Kisses. Anyway, okay, what do you want to talk about? I already know the answer.
We watched Star Wars yesterday.
We watched Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So, right off the top, did you like it?
So, okay, I did.
Okay.
And I think, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, this movie does move a little slow. Like, it's not as fast-paced as I remember, but I think, and I was saying, like, you know, if there wasn't this humongous hype, would I like it, right?
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, because, like, the first thing I said to you, even before the movie ended, I was like, can we watch the second one? Let's watch the second one. So, like, I think I definitely did like it because I want to watch the next one.
Okay.
But it did move a little bit slower than I remembered, and it was so much cheesier than I remembered, but I think the fact that it was, like, you know, in the time, like, it came out in the 70s, and therefore, you know, I think a lot of the things that I'm judging it about aren't relevant, because it's like, okay, it came out, like, you know, 50 years ago?
43 years ago, yeah.
So, you know.
It's 2020, dear reader. It is 2:23 in the afternoon.
Yep, this is the worst you'll see
Cinco
of
de
me.
Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You had notes.
So, yeah, so first of all.
You took notes on the movie.
Well, I wrote Custodian Leia from the intro, because it said
did say that.
Princess Leia and her custodian fleet, and I was like, she's a custodian, and that was the first thought that I had. Anyway, it was funny. Or no, it wasn't the movie we were watching. We were watching a Family Guy episode. We watched the Star Wars A New Hope Family Guy episode right afterwards, and
Blue Harvest.
Rob had to, oh, yeah, I definitely remember watching this. Not yesterday, I remember watching them when I was younger. Anyway.
You were younger yesterday.
Yeah, but I was way younger when I first saw them. Anyway, it was funny because we were watching the movie, the show was backwards, so Rob was reading it to me, but he had to read everything backwards, what's it called?
Crawl.
The crawl, and it was very funny. Anyway. Irrelevant, but, so yeah, I have so many, how do you want to do this? Do you want me to just go?
Rattle off a few.
Okay, well, so.
Let's see what you got.
It was also really funny watching this with Rob because he remembers every little detail. So, like, in the intro or the opening scene, there was C-3PO and R2-D2 were walking through Leia's ship. Or rolling through, I guess. And Robert points out that there's a silver C-3PO also, in addition to the gold.
That's not because I remember it. He was on the screen.
No, I know, but you were like, oh, yeah, there he is. He doesn't come back the rest of the movie. Like, look at that.
You never see him again.
I thought it was so funny that it wasn't 2 droids, it was 3 droids, and then they just didn't. Anyway, I thought that was weird. Although I guess he wasn't a character, he just turned the other way.
He was a prop.
Yeah, but it was just funny that, you know, you pointed it out like you did. I stand by what I said where yesterday you were like, yeah, you say the effects are so cheesy. I don't think the effects in the original movie were cheesy.
Alright.
Like, I wasn't looking at them and be like, oh, come on, that's bad. That's too...
We watched the remastered one that came out in whatever it was, 2000 or 2002, something
which
like that.
was terrible.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, Jabba was
yeah.
AI or CGI.
But here's the thing. I don't think watching the original, I think you would find different problems.
Anyway.
Extant with...
I still, like,
it doesn't matter.
I don't think that Jabba was bad. Like, in the first movie, I thought that, you know, Jabba was fine as a live prop thing. And anyway, but yeah, I did, my father, when I was growing up, had action figures of, like, every single one of the characters, so it's funny, like, I remember playing with them as a kid, so I think, like, I thought my dad just had a couple of them, but I think my dad has an action figure of every single character that appeared in the movie.
He has a lot.
Yeah, in any movie. Anyway.
Any movie.
Any of the Star Wars movies.
Any movie.
I should say. Okay, I commented that the helmets look like bugs, made them look like bugs, and you told me to write that down?
Yeah, it looks like all of your notes are from the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
I think, like, a lot of my first comments are from the beginning of the movie, just because I, like, this is when all the world building happens for the most part.
I guess.
But, and all the characters are introduced. But, I mean, there were things throughout. Like, that scene, I thought it would be kind of redundant to write every single weird thing that I noticed. Like, I mean, Luke is a whiny bitch. I didn't remember that.
He's gonna go to Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Yeah, he just
going
home. It was funny, a lot of what the Family Guy touched on.
R2.
I specifically said out loud. Like, when he was like, home, I was like, yeah, that was weird. And then Family Guy did it.
Listen.
Also, again, when his entire family died, or his aunt and uncle died.
Yeah, it's his
spoiler
entire family.
alert.
You're right. Oh, yeah, spoiler alert for Star Wars if you haven't seen it. I guess I don't know.
I don't know if there are children watching this. I don't know.
They shouldn't be. There are a lot of reasons why children shouldn't be consuming this.
That's true.
If you're old enough to listen to this, you should have seen Star Wars by now.
Anyway.
But be that as it may.
Anyway, my point was, when they died, it was so metal. Like, you see their skeletal corpses.
Yeah, they're charred corpses.
Burnt to crisps. Yeah, just chilling, lying on the ground in a weird... Anyway. And then he literally did not cry. He did not seem to care. When Leia's entire planet was blown up, she literally did not dwell on it for half a second. I thought that was super weird.
They bounced back from tragedy pretty quickly.
Like, yeah, there was no emotion whatsoever except for that weird tension between Han and Leia. But other than... And, like, Luke seemed to be really torn up about Obi-Wan, but then he heard his voice and he didn't even question it. He was like, oh, cool, he's here.
Yeah, he was torn up about a man who he had met, I don't know, 6 hours prior.
It was so weird.
But his surrogate parents...
And he didn't question...
Don't get a tear.
He didn't question the Force at all. Like, he was just like, oh, cool. That's what this is.
I mean, it was pretty...
It was so...
ham-fisted.
Yeah, like, it was just like, oh, Luke, you need to study the Force. And he's like, I can't do that. And he goes, no, you really have to. And he goes, okay. Like, it was very unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Also, the stormtroopers, speaking of helmets and stuff, the stormtroopers have boobs, which I don't know how I feel about.
Kind of, yeah. They have chest
which seems like that's your issue with Batman. Like, when he has nipples and stuff, like, it kind of reminded me of that a little.
I do have an issue with that when that does happen.
So they gave the stormtroopers boobs and a crotch. What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm listening.
Get off your phone.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
We're podcasting right now.
I know. I'm listening, though.
Oh, my God. Do you see what I have to deal with, dear readers? He's ridiculous.
I'm looking something up.
He's ridiculous. I was going to say one more thing. Actually, it's literally written down. Oh, okay. I have a new favorite character. Don't be mad. Hey. Don't be mad.
Who's your favorite character?
R2-D2. First of all, he's this eccentric little troublemaking rogue, and he just does whatever the fuck he wants to do.
Yeah. And
badasses all over the place. And C-3PO the entire time is just being an annoying butthole. And R2-D2 is just doing his thing. And he's like, oh man, I love him so much. He was called by C-3PO. Well, he called C-3PO a mindless philosopher. C-3PO...
He did not, did he?
Yeah. And then
I don't think so. I think he got that backwards.
I don't think so.
R2-D2 doesn't talk, so...
Well, he talks to C-3PO.
I think he got it backwards.
We can look into it. But then C-3PO called him an overweight blob of grease, which I thought was just fucking amazing. And then later he calls him a nearsighted scrap pile. And then he says the years of trouble or something, or like the years of something have made him eccentric. And I just thought that was so cute to describe a robot as eccentric. It's adorable.
Yeah, I say, if you look at the facts, R2-D2 rather, never stops talking, even when he should shut up because he's trying to hide. Never follows orders. Has a flamboyantly gay best friend.
Yes.
Not only wears a flashy accessory, really at the core of it is a flashy accessory.
R2?
Yes, okay. I'm just saying, if you step back and look at it, he is the original, maybe, cliche, quintessential, sassy woman character.
He's my favorite character.
He's the original trope for a sassy female supporting I do what I want, when I want.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why I'm so drawn to him.
I mean, maybe.
I loved him so much. Like, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I also commented that, the you know, the little guys with the red eyes, the jewels.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck they're called.
The Jawas.
The Jawas, they live in an RV.
They do live in an RV. That was funny.
It's like a spaceship that rolls.
No, they don't live. They have a transport that they move droids in. They have a transport ship, which they said multiple times. No, I don't think so.
They did make it seem like they lived.
I don't think they did. I don't think any. First of all, again, it's not an RV. It's enormous and it's like 50 feet tall.
Okay, well.
And shaped like a trapezoid. It's not an RV.
It's an RV.
It's not a Winnebago. Luke owns droids, which are clearly sentient.
Yeah.
Works on a moisture farm.
That was weird.
I get that he wants to leave Tatooine and go join the Resistance and be part of the Rebel Alliance and all that. But that doesn't mean that when you're bored you should stare at the sun like a goddamn lunatic. There are 2 suns and he just goes outside to look at them. Uninterrupted for...
He does?
Yes, with that... He's like, I'm gonna get off this. Yeah,
I know he shoots rats.
He kisses his sister on the goddamn mouth.
He doesn't
Luke's
know.
a weirdo. Also, yeah, there's often people.
Also, he didn't kiss her in that movie, so spoiler alert.
That's true. Again,
double spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen any of this, I guess the last couple, like the Adam Driver, etc. If you haven't seen those, I guess that's fair, but don't.
Well.
Don't.
Like, I think one of them was okay, but the other 2 or 3 were not great.
2, and they were terrible. You're thinking of Rogue One. It was not one of those movies. Or you might be thinking of Solo. Also not one of those movies.
What do you mean, not one of those movies?
I mean, there's a trilogy with Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley, and then there are standalone movies like Rogue One and Solo, which have nothing to do with those movies. They were not made
the same actors?
Nope.
What?
Nope. Not a single actor overlaps. No one who is in any of those movies. Not a single person. Go ahead. By all means. So yeah, people say that Luke is weird, and he is. He's a weirdo and kind of a dork. But anyway, people say that if he didn't have the Force or was not gifted a lightsaber immediately after meeting Obi-Wan, who screams at the Sand People to scare them away. He screams so weird. He screams like a walrus,
like an old senile man. That was very weird.
They startle easily, I guess.
If you do that, you'll startle anyone.
Yeah, I am startled easily. That was terrifying. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
and yeah, I don't disagree with you about Luke. That wasn't what I was.
No, he's a weirdo. But people say in reference to Luke being a weirdo, he zeroes in on Womp rats, and he says, because they're talking about shooting a rocket down into the Death Star's, at the end of the movie, into the Death Star's exhaust shaft to blow it up. Mm-hmm. And they say, the opening's only 2 meters. And he says, yeah, I zero in on Womp rats all the time at home, but they're not much bigger than 2 meters. Not much bigger than 2 meters. For those of you who don't know the metric system very well, 2 meters is about 6'7" or 6'8". He says they're not much bigger than 2 meters. There are 8-foot Womp rats running around his moisture farm. They're bears. They're rats the size of bears. And people say, he's hunting small animals. They're not small animals. They're bigger than he is.
Well,
he's hunting rat bears. Rodents of unusual size from The Princess Bride are said to be monsters because I think in the movie they actually put,
dogs.
Yeah, they put like a black lab into the movie, and they put fake ears and whatever, a rat tail on him, or I don't know what they did, but they
covered him entirely.
Whatever. They used a dog, a medium to somewhat large sized dog, to portray a monster.
It's like a wombat size.
Wombats are not that big. That thing is not even half the size of what would be a womp rat if they're a little bigger than 2 meters. That's a fucking monster. Well, he should be shooting those from space. He should be hitting those. That should be what the Death Star is used for. Blow up Tatooine. It's infested with these terrible pests that you can't let get off the planet. It's like an alien movie. Like, you have to contain it to this planet, and worst case scenario, you destroy the planet.
I need to watch AVP again. My God.
Put it on the list.
I've been asking my friends, because they do movie night every weekend, and I've been asking them, and I'm pretty sure they saw it without me. But maybe not. Who knows?
So I'm looking, if I may.
You also said that Luke plays with toy ships.
He does. There was a scene when when I think C-3PO, they had just gotten the droids, he was taking an oil bath.
Yeah.
Luke was just sitting there playing with a spaceship.
Like a 5-year-old boy.
Like a child, yeah. Like a model spaceship.
Like flying it through the air with his hand.
You're 19 and you want to... he owns a racer. He is a pilot. He's a pilot.
I feel like...
That'd be like if you walked into a plane that you were about to sit on for 6 hours and be on a commercial flight, and you looked in the cockpit and you saw the pilot was playing with a little toy plane.
Yeah.
Like flying it through the air. You'd be like, get me the fuck off this thing. Are you kidding me?
I think in my head what they did was they cast... How old was Mark Hamill?
I think he was 19.
He was 19?
I think he was 19.
It's like they cast a guy and they're like, okay, we're going to have a 19-year-old playing a 19-year-old, but he's going to act like he's 8. Like, they made Luke really whiny, really incapable. He was, like, really awkward and bad with women, too. Like, he was, like, really into Leia. But then, like, the second Han Solo was like, oh, I think I might like her. What do you think about that?
No!
You guys would never get along. She would never like a guy like you.
He did.
Weird.
He was like a child.
He was. He was, like, playing with toys. He was like, oh, Dad's gonna be mad at me because I lost R2. Like, it was just very, childish.
Yeah, it was kind of strange.
I mean, granted, I would have acted like that as a 19-year-old, too. Like, I'd be
George
like, oh.
Lucas was a dork.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the next... note on your list is overweight blob of grease, and you spelled grease Greece like the country that, Jessica, if I may, we've been to.
I'm sorry, I was
you
writing.
need to step.
I was writing really fast.
No.
I was.
No, it doesn't matter. Not an excuse.
Yeah, no, it's Grease.
Yeah.
So.
ASE.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grease.
Anyway,
like the movie, or
I apologize. The other stuff I spelled correctly. Everything.
Who's to say?
Well, anyway, another thing that I wrote down. I just wrote troublemaker / badass. I don't know who I was talking about, but you know.
R2-D2, obviously.
But
you're enamored.
I'm in love with R2-D2. Anyway, the aliens are all dinosaurs. Like, all of the beasts of burden are not like aliens. They're dinosaurs, which I thought was really weird and not correct.
Maybe George Lucas borrowed some CGI from Steven Spielberg.
It was weird. And the last thing that I wrote down, well, the second last thing, Leia's shooting face was absolutely hilarious.
It's not great.
She, every single time she, like, winces and bares her teeth, like, ooh, like, that hurts me to shoot.
Often closing her eyes.
And then, sometimes she'll close her eyes, and she'll just close her eyes and go, ooh, I'm shooting. Like, it was so weird.
Yeah.
So it was the scene, I mean, they're obviously, like, helping her escape from the Death Star. And it's that scene, I'm pretty sure, where, just watch her. It's towards the end, I believe, but, like, watch her try to fucking shoot a gun. It's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Which was not the original plan, mind you.
What?
Rescuing Leia. They were not going to have anything to do with her.
Why did they rescue her?
They were going to go to Alderaan to deliver the R2 droid to her father on Alderaan. Mm-hmm. They got to Alderaan, found it was just an asteroid field.
Accidentally got caught on the Oh.
The Death Star was there because they just blown up Alderaan.
Well, they didn't know she was there.
They had no idea she was there. That's the point.
Got it.
And then they realized she was there and said, let's rescue her.
She's got money.
Han said, yeah, she's got money. And Luke said, I want to fuck my sister. And just those two gross... I mean, Han's not gross, but those two weird, selfish motivators ended up working out in the rebellion's favor.
Sure.
I don't know, man.
Also, the fact that they made Han Solo seem like such a villain for just, like, wanting to do his own, like, independent thing.
Take care of yourself, Han. Guess that's what you're best at.
Like...
Leave him alone.
Yeah, like, bro...
You hired him to be a taxi driver. He drove you here. Yeah, it's like if I call an Uber and then I get to my mother's house and my mother's falling down the stairs, like, I don't expect the Uber driver to stay there for 6 hours.
Yeah, and, like, make sure your mom is okay. Yeah,
send my mother up and, drive her to the hospital for free and then stay overnight with her. Like, no, man, he drove me to my house. He can go. He's an Uber driver.
And it's not even like, oh, help my mom. It's like literally fight in a war.
Right. Like, if I get to my mom's house and there's a gang, like a gunfight.
Yeah.
There's gang warfare going on and I say, you got to get in on this. Like, no, what? No, I don't.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Don't you believe in something? What? believe in paying off my debts and going home.
Yeah, I
Leave
just
me
want
alone.
to get my student loans
This stupid
paid.
ship and this giant dog man are the only things I have in my life.
Yeah. I also, if Han, I am curious as to how he even afforded to get that ship in the first place, because it's a big fucking ship.
He's a smuggler, and it's a piece of junk.
Okay.
As they say many times.
So he stole it?
No, I don't think he stole it. I think, well, if this original...
being a smuggler doesn't explain anything.
If the original Solo movie is to be believed, or not the original Solo movie, the standalone Solo movie that came out, whatever it was, 2018, he won it in a game of cards or something.
Okay, that
Baccarat from Lando Calrissian.
Okay.
That being said, though, if you are a smuggler, you can make good money.
Sure.
For example, Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind was making, I think, $500,000 a year during this American Civil War, the 1860s.
What a weird reference.
That would have been, I don't even know. I don't even think you can really calculate the sort of inflation that would be, but that's probably like tens of millions of dollars a year. I mean, it's crazy money, you know. I think...
I don't know why I'm trusting Gone with the Wind.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, all right. I guess that's fair. That's fair.
I don't know anything about that.
You're right. But no, I mean, being a pirate or being a smuggler can be very profitable. That's kind of the idea.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, of course.
Sort of,
high risk, high reward.
Look at Jack Sparrow as his own. That's. It's usually in the case of these people, these sort of rogue, renegade, pirate, smuggler, whatever characters.
That's my fucking D&D character.
Yeah, the ship is usually pretty much the only thing they have or care
well,
about.
Sure.
It's true. It's true of Jack Sparrow. It's true of Han Solo.
Yep.
The only thing they give a crap about is
their ship and a buddy.
Is their ship, and yeah, sometimes their first mate, but even that is sometimes not the case. But the ship is really all they love. I
saw like a post, I think it was like a Tumblr post on Jack Sparrow, and it was saying like Pirates of the Caribbean 1 was a masterpiece, and they were like quoting...
It was an excellent movie.
We should rewatch that.
Keira Knightley was the female love interest in it, I suppose. I mean, she was one of the main characters.
She was not anyone's sister.
She was. That's true. She didn't pork any of her siblings. She was the female lead in the movie. She was 17 when that movie came out.
That's absurd.
I think she was 17 when they shot it. It's, I guess, possible she was 16.
That's absurd.
Because she was 17 when the movie came out. Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
People say I look like Keira Knightley too, and Carrie Fisher. But also, Keira Knightley...
Well, you do have two heads, so I understand.
Well, I look like... Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, Keira Knightley was so cool, and...
Because I think she was 16 in Bend It Like Beckham, which came out the year before.
She looked like...
Which was horrible.
First of all, she looks a lot older than she is, I guess. How tall is she, I wonder?
Probably your height. How tall would you think Keira Knightley is?
Even me, I'm 26. I still don't look like a woman.
49.
Like, I still look like a child.
Well, yeah, but you just, keep your fingers crossed. Your pubes will come in someday.
Stop bringing up pubes.
You're right.
But yeah, I feel like when I look at myself, I'm like, okay, like, one day I'll look like a lady. Like, you know those pictures of, like Angelina Jolie looked very, very, very young for a very long time, and then all of a sudden...
Angelina.
She got those cheekbones and whatever, and, like... The same thing they said, there was a post where it was like Angelina Jolie, Margot Robbie, and one other lady, and then it was like, wham, like puberty hit, and then they got...
She's 5'6", says this thing.
Okay. I don't know, she looked really old, that's surprising. I think Natalie Portman also, people get her confused with Keira Knightley a lot, and she also started acting really young, and she also looked very old at a young age. I wonder how old she was when she played Amidala.
Who?
Natalie Portman.
Boo, boo, boo. I guess we can find out. Natalie Portman is an actress and filmmaker with dual Israeli and American citizenship. She's 5'3".
Really?
Yep.
There's hope for me yet.
When the Phantom Menace came out, she would have been 18, so she was probably 17.
See?
When they shot the movie.
Wait. Wasn't she in one of the Star Wars movies earlier, and then she was in one of the movies...
She was in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, but she played, like, a kid. Like, she wasn't the queen yet.
She was the princess.
Yeah, when was she Queen Amidala, though?
In the next and third movie, I guess.
I know, but how long? Was she 20?
Well, the first one, when they shot it, she was 17 or 18, and then the next one came out 3 years later, and then the next one was 3 years after
20.
that. So yeah, she would have been 20 and then 23, I guess.
See, she also looks young. I mean, looks old to me. Anyway, my God. We should watch Pirates of the Caribbean 1. Sure. Please. That'd be great. We could do a review
Curse
on
of
it.
the Black Pearl.
But again, I don't think anyone, cares.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know if it's a good one to review, because it's like everyone has already seen it. And
Jessica, we're reviewing Star Wars right now.
Well, to me, it feels like a novel experience, because I've never seen Star Wars as an adult. So, like, the Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm like, Anyway, my God. So, actually, yeah, I think I went through every single thing on my list. Do you have anything else to say? Star Wars?
No, I don't think I do, actually.
There was just a lot of buffoonery.
There was a lot of buffoonery.
What was the budget like? That was a question I meant to ask you.
Oh.
Do you know if it was like a high budget movie or
I think it was, relatively speaking, for the time. Let's see.
Because I forget. I was under the impression... Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I was under the impression that it was kind of like Rocky Horror, where it's like this one random dude is like, I have this great idea, you guys, and he just kind of goes for it, and it's like it wasn't supposed to be a feature, like a big feature film, but then it just got traction and turned into one.
This Google search says it was $11 million in 1977. That's a pretty big budget.
Okay, see, that's... Again, I remember it being like one of those low budget movies that just so happened to make it big.
No, I wouldn't...
Because there's so many extras and stuff.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even a low budget film can afford extras. But
I don't know anything about budgeting for movies.
Yeah,
but...
for a sci-fi movie in 1976 or 77, whenever it was actually shot, $11 million is big money. I don't think Jaws had a budget that big.
Okay. Well, Jaws was just one shark in a boat the whole time.
No, I know, but still, like, the Jaws was a very big movie that the studio had a lot of faith in.
Yeah, anticipated. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
That's it.
For example, E.T., which came out 5 years after Star Wars, and again was made by Spielberg, who was a huge, respected director by then, had already made, I think, the first Indiana Jones movie, and had already made Jaws, and blah, blah, blah.
Wait.
Yep.
So did Indiana Jones come out right after Star Wars?
The first Indiana Jones movie came out in 1981, which was 4 years after the first Star Wars, and I think a year after the second one.
Because Family Guy said that, oh my God, Harrison Ford was the only one whose career wasn't ruined by Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford's career was, what's the word? Oh my God.
Successful.
I'm just thinking of the word plummeted, but I'm thinking of the opposite of plummeted. Yeah, like
skyrocketed.
It was thrust into success by this movie, and then everyone else, like Mark Hamill, I think was like a guest star in a couple things, but probably just because of Star Wars.
For sure.
And then I don't remember a thing about Carrie Fisher ever, but I think she was probably famous otherwise. I don't know. No, it was just that one role her whole life.
No, I mean she might have been in other stuff, but no one fucking no. Again, you're a pretty big Carrie Fisher fan.
Well,
you've been her for multiple Halloweens.
I have, yeah.
You talk about her all the time. You can't name a single other Carrie Fisher role.
It's true. I think she did play a character on something, or like I think I've seen like her interviews as herself, obviously. And she's just kind of like a sassy take no shit bitch, but it kind of disappoints me that she didn't do anything else with her career. But I guess I wonder how much she would have made from Star Wars. Probably so much.
Probably a lot. Let's see. All filmography. She was, as an actress...
She probably played someone's mom that I remember. Or something.
She was in... for 2 episodes, she was in Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce.
Yes!
In 2016.
She played like a lawyer or something.
Yeah, none of this is really...
But...
impressing me. She was in a 1-episode... arc on The Big Bang Theory.
Don't watch that.
Let's see, like back in the 80s, back when this was actually relevant. Let's see. So, we have her in Star Wars as Princess Leia. She was in a TV movie called Ringo. She was in a TV movie called Come Back, Little Sheba.
Okay.
She was a mystery woman in the Blues Brothers.
I've had enough.
Under the Rainbow. She was in one episode of Laverne and Shirley. She was in something ccalled Fairy Tale Theater. Thumbelina, 1 episode.
Thumbelina.
She's in a TV movie of Frankenstein.
Ooh.
She played a
like Villager number 7.
She played a character in the Tom Hanks movie The Man with One Red Shoe in 1985, which was fucking horrible.
I'm done with it.
Yeah, she didn't do much, and I don't think she was a particularly big part in that even. I don't remember.
I wonder if it's just kind of like I want to be an actress, but like I'm already set for life. So
I mean, she probably was set for life. Her mother was Debbie Reynolds.
I don't know what that means.
Her mother was very famous.
Wait, that's how she got the role?
Oh,
Bro,
undoubtedly, she's not a very good actress.
It infuriates me. The nepotism in Hollywood. Like, all I want is to be rich and famous. But I don't have any connections. God.
Yeah, just make connections or make a movie yourself, and then people will start connecting you to people.
With what budget, Robert?
Yeah, you got to be creative to do it without any money.
I don't have a creative bone in my body.
Well, then why would you think that creative work would be the way you're going to get rich and famous? You know? You're saying, all I want is to be rich and famous for being an actor, but I have no creativity. Why do you think the arts would be where that's going to come out? Find out what sort of bones you have and then go into that industry.
The only bones I have are creative.
Okay, well, I'm getting a lot of mixed messages here, so I'm just going to go ahead and push us right past this.
I'm never
yeah,
gonna make it.
E.T., which came out in 1982 and had a big budget and was also sci-fi and had, some terrible, in hindsight, but at the time, not terrible, special effects and practical effects, blah, 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 had a budget of $10.5 million.
Crazy.
So
this was 11?
Star Wars, the original Star Wars, which came out 5 years prior,
Yeah.
had a bigger budget.
Okay.
So it was a pretty
That's
big
shocking.
deal.
Did George Lucas make anything before Star Wars? Like, why?
I think American Graffiti came out before Star Wars, but that might not even be true. Yeah, Star Wars was...
Like, how would he just randomly get an $11 million budget?
Yeah, I mean, they liked the script, I guess, and they knew he could direct a movie.
Okay.
And
I don't know why, but I thought George Lucas literally came out of nowhere.
I mean, he kind of did, but that's how it always goes. You're not famous until you are.
No, I know, but yeah. It's like, what's that one? Clerks.
Yeah, Kevin Smith.
Didn't they straight up do it completely themselves? Like, that came out of straight up nowhere. Like, they were not famous at all, and then all of a sudden they were.
Correct.
But that's not the same thing as what you're saying happened to George Lucas.
It's not. Yeah, let's see.
That's the impression I was under.
George Lucas.
Like, where he filmed this in using cameras from his basement, and that's what I thought this movie was.
He had a few shorts, and then he had a documentary in 1966. He had a couple of weird electronic labyrinth what is this? The Emperor is a documentary, a short documentary. Yeah, since the 60s.
Okay.
Uncredited documentary, THX 1138. American Graffiti was the big one, I think, that got him enough attention to get Star Wars off the ground. And then
weird.
Apparently according to IMDb anyway, he directed Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, and then did not direct any of the other original Star Wars movies. The next movie he directed, it says, was Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. He didn't even direct Phantom Menace?
What?
That's peculiar. Oh, no, he did direct the Phantom Menace, I'm sorry. But he didn't direct the sequel.
Is Phantom Menace 1?
Yeah, the one with what's his name? No, Hayden Christensen's not in that one. He's not in it until the second one. The one with Liam Neeson.
Fuck yeah.
And Darth Maul.
And Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor is his name, not Ewan.
Ewan?
Ewan is not a human name.
You guys, Big Fish.
Big Fish is a movie with Ewan McGregor.
My god. Big Fish might be, one of my favorite movies in the world.
Yeah, it is. You constantly bring it up whenever I ask you what your favorite movies are.
Yeah, I love it. My god, I love it. I always forget that it exists, and then I'm like, oh, Big Fish. Like, when people ask me what my favorite movie is, I should just always say Big Fish.
Even American Graffiti was pretty big, because they got Ron Howard, who was already famous Ron Howard was famous. He was a child star. And they got Richard Dreyfuss, who I guess this would have been pre-Jaws and pre-Close Encounters, but still, he must have been doing stuff before American Graffiti, right?
I know nothing
Jessica?
about this. I know nothing.
Jess?
I know nothing.
Anything?
I don't have a knowledgeable bone in my body.
That's definitely true. Let's see. Richard Dreyfuss. Let's go way back to the 70s. Jaws was 75. Close Encounters was 77. What did he do before American Graffiti? Dillinger, Catch-22, which is a TV movie. Gunsmoke for an episode. Yeah, boy.
While you do this,
Hello down there. No, don't do that.
Well,
The Young Run. The Graduate, uncredited. Oh, well, I guess it's kind of hard to say. He was in a TV show called Occasional Wife, which I've never heard of.
Occasional Wife?
Yep.
That's what you are to me.
Hi-oh! Yeah, so I guess maybe that was his breakout role. Who's to say? Certainly not I. So, you liked Star Wars.
I did.
Okay, good.
I want to rub it in your face.
Well...
I did like it.
I think you're kind of jumping the gun here, because we've only seen one of the original three, and I think you're going to start not liking them as much.
Okay, they might get worse, but I still...
No. We can recap at the end of it. But
shush.
Who did you notice, or maybe not notice, was not in this movie at all? Take your time.
A lot of people. Why? What do you mean?
Anyone in particular stand out as a Star Wars character you would have expected to see that you did not see in this movie?
Nope.
Or even hear mention of, really?
Boba
Fett was not in this, sure. The Emperor was not in this.
The Emperor.
Yep.
Was that who you were getting at?
Yep.
Oh, no. That didn't surprise me at all.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, the Emperor...
My point is that if this movie hadn't done well, it would have obviously just been... They would have made 50 sequels and, TV shows and all that crap. So if this movie had, kind of been decent or not good, then this would have been the entire thing.
I know. I feel like having...
No Emperor, no Boba Fett,
Here's the thing. This movie did not address...
Ewoks.
The Ewoks.
They're not going to come until episode 6.
This movie did not... Yoda.
No Yoda.
This movie did not address why Darth looks the way he looks, why he sounds the way he sounds, why he is the way he is. Like, obviously they were like, okay, he's the lead in command, and they, made him choke a dude, and it was like, okay, he's kind of this bad bitch, but it didn't address at all, like, oh, I breathe this way because I'm disgusting.
Yeah, it doesn't address that, nor will it for these next two movies. On top of that, they don't really talk about it. On top of that, they don't really, like, when they're in a meeting and they're like, oh, your stupid Jedi ways, you dork, they don't give you the clairvoyance to fuck you, man.
Yeah.
Come up with these rebel. And then he just starts choking a guy, and then a higher ranked officer, because he has more buttons on his lapel, says, enough of this, and he's like, all right, as you wish. Yeah, it's very difficult to kind of suss out what Vader's job is.
Yeah, like, where does he rank? Because
he's not the Emperor.
He's not the big villain, even.
Right. He listens to that old guy, the high command officer, I guess, who's himself not even the Emperor. So Vader's not even second in command on the Death Star.
That's what I'm saying, and he specifically says, like, oh, don't let me down, or whatever, to Vader. So, like, clearly Vader... I mean, I remembered Vader always serving somebody else, though, which to me makes him look kind of more of a pussy.
Yeah, it's very...
Like, he's...
odd, like obviously, again, spoiler alert for Star Wars and who Darth Vader is. He's obviously the right hand to the Emperor, and he's Luke's father, and there's this whole saga of intrigue and drama. But just watching this movie, frankly, as a standalone film, you don't really get any of that.
No.
This dude comes in and he starts waving his lightsaber, and then he's like, "I'm gonna find this dude." But I don't get from this movie. I don't really get the impression that he's all that badass.
No, not at all.
Particularly because everything he tries, he fails.
I mean, I think
he doesn't get the rebel plans out of Princess Leia. He lets her escape. He doesn't catch Luke. I mean, the Death Star blows up. He
knows that, like, he kind of is like one step ahead of, or like he's not ahead of them, but he's with them. Like, he's like, oh, we got to go get those plans. Oh, we didn't get the plans. Okay, well. They're on the ship. Oh, I know it's Obi-Wan. I can feel it. Like, he does know what's going on. Like, I don't think that he's very... Like, a lot of bad guys, it's like, oh, we fooled him. But, like, I don't think that Vader was fooled. He just, like, couldn't keep up.
He was just outplayed. Right.
Yeah.
And on top of that, same thing, like, with all the characters. Like, especially if you've seen, 20 of these fucking movies, Obi-Wan, Luke Skywalker, Anakin even, before. But watching this movie, I, like, just as a standalone film, when Obi-Wan died, I didn't find that upsetting.
Not at all.
He was a weird old man who, again, from the time he met Luke until the time he died, the only thing he really did was waved his hand in a stormtrooper's face and was like, these are not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then kind of he made Luke sell his speeder so that because he's poor,
I thought it was so funny.
He could pay Han Solo. He's like, that'll be enough.
And then he specifically said, we'll pay you $7,000 more than you're asking for to do this trip.
Right.
And then he made Luke sell his car.
Well, no, he did that because Han was asking for all of it in advance.
No, I know, but he still... I thought it was, like... Then just say, okay, if you're asking for 10,000, I'll give you 10,000.
Right, but he wanted 10,000 right there. And
no, I understand.
10,000.
I'm not confused. Oh, he wanted 10,000 right there, and then...
Yes.
He said, we'll pay you 2 now, and then...
15 when we get there.
Oh. I thought he was
You are
just...
confused.
No, I thought that Han was asking for 10,000 total... And didn't, like, I thought he would still want 2 in advance.
No.
And then, okay.
Again, you were confused. It's fine.
Not that confused. I still think it was annoying that he...
So, but yeah, Obi-Wan, he cut off a dude's arm in a bar, and then that was kind of it.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
I think there wasn't a lot of badass... And also, like...
He sensed that Alderaan had exploded, but, like, again...
And the Force wasn't even that cool.
No, and also, if you go by the entire... chronology of, let's say the first movie is The Phantom Menace, and then episode 2 and 3, and then 4, 5, 6, right?
Sure.
Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and all these people, frankly, who are any older than Luke, because the collapse of the Empire, or the collapse of the Jedi Order, rather, and the rise of the Empire, was all happening in tandem with, like, it collapsed pretty much the day Luke and Leia were born. Basically, exactly then, right? Like, Anakin slaughtered all the Jedi, and the Jedi, the younglings, whatever, like, as Luke and Leia were being born.
Sure.
So anyone who's even a couple, like anyone who's Han Solo's age even, who's a couple of years older than Luke and Leia would remember very well the Jedi.
Sure.
Would know, and yet they all call them wizards, and they say, oh, your witchcraft and your sorcery. Yeah, your voodoo magic isn't going to work. And Uncle Owen literally calls... and I mean, I guess he's kind of trying to dissuade Luke from going, but still, he's like, oh yeah, that crazy old wizard. Like, no, man, you know he's a Jedi Master. You know that these people can, like, rip spaceships out of the air and deflect blasters. Like, everyone acts like the Jedi have been dead for 1,000 years, and it's just this weird pagan, like, this esoteric... I think... religion that doesn't do anything, but then anyone any older than Luke and Leia, anyone who's 25 or older should know that's not the case.
I don't know what George Lucas's plans were when he made Star Wars. Like, obviously, I don't know if episode 4, like, it was called episode 4 always, right? Like, I think he knew what he was doing from the get-go.
I think I don't even think it was called A New Hope. If memory serves, when it came out, it was just Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Because I was saying, like, as a standalone movie, I would understand why everything was so weird and vague.
Yeah.
Because it's where am I? Like, what's going on? And then as the story grows, you get a sense of what the fuck is happening and what the timeline is. But, like, if he knew what he was doing from the beginning, it does seem like an oversight to kind of make everyone like, what is this voodoo?
But even if he didn't, right? The first 3 movies come out. Now, episode 4, 5, and 6 come out in the 80s. And then... The episode 6, Return of the Jedi, comes out in 84, and then it's 15 years before you make The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Just when you make the prequels and The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, make it so it's either like 1,000 years in the past, or make it so that, as you set up in the original trilogy, the Jedi are this small, clandestine underground order that nobody believes in. They're like a secret cult that people think are just crazy wizards running around. That's the impression that I got
from this movie, though.
Right, but
they were saying that they were like, oh, like, if you have to see it to believe it, no one really sees it because they're so,
Yes, but then the prequel movies, there were thousands of Jedi everywhere. All the time.
They were...
doing everything. Okay. They had a temple. They had a planet, basically, dedicated to them.
Well, maybe
They were going around the galaxy. They were like intergalactic police, or I guess intragalactic police officers.
I need to watch again, because I don't recall.
They were everywhere. It would be like if...
But can't you only find it if you're a Jedi? Like, isn't it kind of like hush?
No, absolutely not.
Low-key?
No, absolutely not. Like, the Jedi would go around doing Jedi shit and telling people, like, oh, don't worry, we're Jedis. Yeah, it would be like if every single, except for 2, it'd be like if every single police officer, it'd be like if every single gun, except for like 4 guns on the planet, disappeared. Yeah. Like today.
Yeah.
And then in 20 years, you and I and everyone our age was like, you still believe in guns? Like, no. We know we might think they don't exist anymore, but we know that they existed and
that
the
they
technology,
can do
the
things,
technology was there. We know what they're capable of, and you could, in theory, rebuild one. I guess you know.
That is weird.
It would be like everyone collectively forgetting firearms ever existed.
It also like
and treating anyone who had a gun like a crazy person.
It did seem
like an old wizard.
Even within this movie, it's like there was this weird like call to arms where it's like, oh, like Obi-Wan had been in retirement, I guess, for a while, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, gotta go spread the Jedi way, let's do it. Like, but it didn't really explain what Leia was trying to do. Like, she was just like, oh, the plans need to get to my dad, the rebel plans, and it's like, okay, but like,
well, they were hoping that they would have some information that would be able to help them destroy the Death Star, and sure enough, the exhaust shaft.
But again, if this whole thing was going on and the rebels were still a thing, like, why was Obi-Wan in retirement at all?
Well, the way that you're right, as a standalone movie, that none of this sets it up particularly well. But in the sequels and also the prequels, the way it sets it up is that Obi-Wan was there specifically to protect and look after Luke.
Okay.
And when he came of age, to help him do whatever he needed to do.
Luke literally almost died right upon meeting Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan, he saved him, but barely.
I mean,
he was like, "You're lucky to be alive, kid." It's like, bro.
Again, the roadmap to these movies clearly did not exist.
Also, it was a little convenient when Luke was like, "Oh, I need to find Obi-Wan." Wait, the guy.
You mean Ben Kenobi?
Yeah, like the
it's one. Like, yeah, the only. First of all, there are 8 people on this planet.
Yeah,
and the guy who lives. Exactly. I mean, it's like, a few miles, but functionally next door to your moisture farm and has the same exact name.
Yeah, it was a little bit convenient.
I wonder if that's... Yeah, of course it is. Kenobi? Oh, is that like Jones on Tatooine? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Skywalker.
So, I mean, regardless of whether or not Luke recognized... Like, even if Luke didn't know who Obi-Wan Kenobi was at all, and, like, that guy didn't exist in his vernacular or whatever...
Yeah.
Like, even then, if he was like, oh, this guy just so happens to be on my planet...
Right. And that, like, too...
Come on.
That's another thing. Like, I guess, kind of, if you... First of all, I don't know why Leia didn't have the name Skywalker. I guess because she wasn't... They were trying to hide her, and so they had to give her a different name.
Yeah,
I guess that's fine, because she was in the public eye. But
why would they keep Luke's name?
Because he's on a fucking moisture farm. Who's gonna...
Another thing... But sorry, go ahead, and then I want to say my thing.
If Anakin was this, like, kind of... like, he was fucking a princess or queen or whatever, and he was, the face of the Jedi Order, and all, even if he killed all the Jedi, plenty of other people know who he is.
Sure.
And then he turns into Darth Vader, like, it wouldn't be a secret that he's Anakin Skywalker. Like, that's the big reveal of, I guess, the entire series, is that Anakin Skywalker is Luke's father, is Darth Vader. Anyone would know that. That would be...
Well, I think it was just a reveal to us. It wasn't a reveal to the world.
It was a reveal to Luke.
Oh.
He didn't know it.
He was raised on a moisture farm.
He meets Princess Leia and says, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you. She's like, who? She should have been like, oh, Skywalker, like that Vader guy who actually kidnapped me?
Well...
I'm seeing a lot of dots connect here.
People thought he died, right?
Obi-Wan told Luke that, but I don't know how you could be that stupid.
The world thought that he died.
No, I don't know how that could be possible.
Also, he changed his name to Darth Vader. Like, I would assume...
Yeah, but he's still not...
I'm buying it.
I don't, frankly, but go ahead.
Another thing, too. So, again, both Leia and Luke were the babies of a queen, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know what Anakin was.
He was just
a normal dude.
Well, he was like a Jedi master, but before that, he was a slave. He was a child slave. Yeah, on Tatooine.
From that little weird flying moth man, right?
Sure. Yeah.
With a big belly.
Yeah.
Anyway, but regardless, they were children of a queen. The queen was one that birthed them, like it was her babies, whatever.
Yep.
How horrible would it be to say, okay, the daughter gets to be a royal, and the son is going to go work on a farm. Yeah. Like, that's not cool. Do they flip a coin? Like, how does that work? Don't do that.
I would assume that they were worried that Vader would go after, try and find his son, as opposed to his daughter.
I don't see why.
Well, it was the 70s, and it's the whole linear progression of...
But they did
succession.
Not address.
Oh, no, you're totally right.
Like, you're just speculating, and you could be totally correct, and that was George Lucas's plan. But also, like,
George Lucas had no plan.
Yeah, like
any single minute of the prequel movies, and even some of the sequels, or some of the original, I guess, and all the sequels, should make it very clear that George Lucas had maybe 1.5 movies in his brain when he started this. And then they were like, can you make it into 13? And he's like, okay.
Yeah, like...
I'm sorry, did you say $5 billion? Yeah, I can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said, like, one of the, like, the Rogue... Or no, I think the new Star Wars had the exact same plot as the original Star Wars. Like, literally the same movie.
No. The 7, 8, 9, whatever they were, The Rise of Skywalker and The Force Awakens and whatever the fuck the third one was called.
I thought the last one was okay.
They were pretty much beat for beat remakes of the plot of the original trilogy, except they were worse. Yeah. And dumber and...
It's weird.
Dorkier and I mean, we're pretty much out of time, but we could do a real rundown of this entire fucking franchise if we wanted to.
Well, because we're gonna do episode 2.
Until then.
Or episode, 4.
See you later, pod racers.
Bye!